Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. So, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Pradana Gilang Prakasa. As you can see at here, I am the developers of these lesson plans or teaching module for English subject. Okay, straight to the point. So right now or today, I will introduce about this instrument. And for instance, I would like to give all of you as the teacher for guidance, video guidance of how to use this lesson plan. Okay, so the important thing, you must download this file and then you can open it with your browser of PDF or PDF reader like Nitro or etc. And okay, now have you been open the lesson plan? Okay, sure, thank you. So for this in this lesson plans, uh, we will teach about the English education, and then for the teaching chapter, entitled Let's Talk, or in other words, we will we will try to practice speaking with podcasts. And for prerequisite competencies, we have two. For the first, students are familiar with expressing opinion in English, and for the second is students understand the basic of conversational structures. And as usual, this is our pelajar Pancasila profile, and we have about the creative dan bergotong royong through collaborative podcasting, because our topic is about speaking with podcasts. And then we need about some facilities and infrastructures like classroom, smartphone, or laptops. And for the important part is about the microphones. Just make sure that your smartphone or your laptops have or has the microphones well. And then we also need the internet access, also the podcast recording tools. It can be Anchor, Spotify, or many others. And this is for the target students about the grade 10 or fast A, fast E. And then for the teaching approach, we will use Zanger-based approach. And then for the teaching methods, of course, we will use about cooperative learning. And this is for the time allocation. We have 2 meetings, and for each meetings, it will span for 45 minutes. And in these lesson plans, uh, as the teacher, you will taught to your students for 2 language skills. And first is speaking and then listening. And now we have about learning objective. So by the end of the lessons, students are able to perform a short dialogue on a chosen topic with clear pronunciation and fluency. The short dialogue can be shown in the podcast record. And then by the end of the lessons, students are able to record and publish a short podcast episode, 2 or 3 minutes, uh, and more than 2 or 3 minutes is very well. Actually, this is using appropriate expressions and vocabulary. Okay, now we have about the skill thoughts. Like I said before, we will taught our students about speaking and listening. So for speaking, students practice expressing their opinion, and interacting naturally. And this is in line with Bloom's taxonomy for C6. In other words, about creating something. In this case, our students will create a podcast. And then for the listening, students listens to peers podcasts and provide feedback. So it will use about the Bloom taxonomy C5 about evaluating. And then this is for the eliciting or guiding questions. For the first, you can use in the PKOF session, like what makes a good conversation interesting to listen to. Okay, something like that. And then for the MOT, you can ask your student about how do you express your opinion politely in English, students? Okay. And then this is until the LRT. Okay, now we move to the learning activities. As usual, we have 5 minutes opening. Uh, these 5 minutes can be greeting, check the attendance, like the opening instructor, something like that. Okay, now we straight to the main activity. For the first, we will spend the 10 minutes allocation for building knowledge of the text. So you will ask your students to do a think, pair, share, and then you ask their knowledge about podcasts. And for this one, you ask your students to listen and watch the example of podcasts provided by you or the teacher. So in here, I will give the examples of podcasts. So this is the video or the records of materials. So if you click with the left clicks in this, and it will let lead you into, okay, this is the example of the podcast. If you want to open, uh, okay, the example, we have two examples, but you can just choose one of them, or your student can choose it by themselves. For the first is like this one or this one. So you can block, sorry, you can, okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, this is the technical issue. Okay, you can click right here, and this is will open a podcast in Spotify, right? Like it, okay? And then if you click this YouTube link, it will guide you to the podcast example in YouTube that was made by me. Okay, so this is the example of the podcast that I've made before. Yeah. Okay, we can close it for a while. Actually, for the example of the podcast, you can copy the link and give it to your students so that they can watch and listen it. So, because you are as the teacher asked about their knowledge about podcast, you will give them for your students about do brainstorming, and then your students will share their knowledge, their conclusion or their knowledge to the class. And now we move to the MOT. So students are asked to listen a short podcast sample. So the sample is same like I gave it in here because we have two, right? So after we gave the example, students are asked to analyze podcast structure, like the introduction, topic, after that a closing. And this will done in the think pair share. And uh, of course, the students will share their knowledge to the class and teacher will give the feedback. And now we move to the GCOT or joint construction of the text. So students pay attention and then the teacher divided the students into some groups. For the each group will have four students and each students in each group will assign one number. So if I have four friends like here, one, two, three, four, and I will be number one. This is two, three, and four, something like that. Okay. And then its students are asked to select a topic with the interest in critical issue. It can be a global warming, plastic wars, and something else. Okay. And then students are given 2 minutes to brainstorm about the concept. This is about the concept. In the GCOT, we will ask them about to building the concepts. And then students are given 10 minutes to share opinion to their groups and then write their concepts into their worksheet. This is their worksheet. If you click here, this is will guide you into this. Now, this is the appendixes of the GCOT, like this one. Please make the script or concept of your podcast. And this is the example or the answer key. At least the answer will be like this. And you need to remember that we we taught our students about speaking and listening. So with this worksheet, for you don't need assess about the written text, but you need to assess about when the students share their conclusion in the classroom. So this is about the what is it? About the assessment of the speaking. Okay, right? About the speaking, and the rubric assessment is in the bottom. I will show you later. And now we will have the ICOT. For this is students are asked to produce a podcast at their presenting task. So students use phones or laptop to record their podcast at least 10 to 15 minutes. Actually, 2 until 3 minutes is okay, but it will be ideal 10 to 15 minutes. And then students upload the class folder or online form, which you made before the classroom began. So you will make by your own to for your students upload podcasts. And then you can assess them by the what scoring rubric that I give in this file. And then for the listening parts, each student listen to one peer podcast and give written feedback for this one. 1 to 2 positive comment plus suggestion. Then we have a RRT about students are asked about the how can speaking through a podcast helps us in real life. And also this is uh, the questionnaire about how can speaking through a podcast help us in real life. Actually, I also give you the scoring will begin here, but I can discuss it later because we still have. Okay, so this is about the think pair share. Students are given 4 minutes to share their opinion to their peers, and then students share their works in the classroom, something like that. And this is for the closing. Students are given feedback about the all activities that have been done in the classroom. And then students are given a preview of the material that have been delivered by the teacher. And of course, then give some feedback, and student learning activities are closed by the teacher. So if you scroll down, you will find the appendices that the hyperlink from the some words in above before. This is for the GCOT, and this is for the ICOT, and this one for LRT. And this is the example of podcast that I've made before. This is the podcast of Spotify, and this is for the YouTube podcast. So your student can see, can watch and listen about the example that I gave and made before. And this is for the scoring rubric. We have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 criteria about the content, pronunciation, fluency, creativity, and overall engagement. So, I've add the comment in here. So for each criteria is scored on a scale of 1 to 5 points, with higher scores indicate stronger performance, like this one. 5 performance like clear and engaging topic with sporting ideas, and 1 point is just off topic or unclear topic, something like that. So the total score can be calculated by assuming the score across all criteria, then multiplying to get total score, multiply to total questions, and then we have 100, something like that. Okay, so I think that's all, and this is for the reference by Mettler and C. Okay, thank you for your focus on my video. So for the conclusion, this is about the video guiding video about how to use the lesson plan. Okay, I will say thank you and see you. Bye bye.